Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose. Today I'm here with my friend Shawn. There he is.
Hello, everybody.
And today we're going to talk about Trump. More Trump. No, we're going to talk about his executive actions and orders in 4 days he's been president. 4 days, man.
He's hit the ground running.
He really has, which that's what we want. Like, let's be clear, for those of us who voted for Trump, obviously, that's exactly what we voted for. I am seeing so far a lot of executive actions and orders that he's signed that I'm very much in favor of. Some we'll get to that I'm like, let's talk about that. But in general, absolutely, this is what we voted for. At least me. What's your take on it so far? Kind of a brief 10,000-foot view.
I like most of his executive orders so far.
Okay.
Except we'll talk about it, but the January 6th pardons were kind of
Okay. Yeah, let's get into it first here, and let's look at what we have. So, first of all, we have right on the whitehouse.gov, right? You got your presidential actions. And we got several things here. The first 100 hours, removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence, President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, declassification of records concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy. Now, hold on. That's an interesting title. There it goes. Okay. I was like, hold on now.
He did
Senator,
more than just Kennedy.
Yes, Senator Robert F. Kennedy and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Excuse me. We will get to these in just a moment. Is there something that you wanted to say before we?
No, we'll get to it.
Okay. Right now, I'm just kind of going down the list here. There are obviously multiple pages. But let's look here. The first 100 hours, historic action to kick off America's golden age. It says President Donald Trump's second term is off to an historic start. The president is wasting no time delivering on the promises he made to the American people. The president signed more executive orders on his first day in office than any other president in history. Yes. When they started talking about the numbers, I'm like, okay. I mean, all right. On the one hand, there are instances where I'm not like thrilled about presidential action / orders. And it's like, that's really something that should be done through Congress. There are other instances where absolutely the president has the power to do this stuff. But moving on, it says here, within the first 100 hours of his second administration, President Trump taken hundreds of executive actions to secure the border, deport criminal illegal immigrants, unleash American prosperity, lower costs, increase government transparency, and reinstitute merit-based hiring in the federal government. The president has already secured over $1 trillion in historic new investments. Interesting.
Yeah.
We're witnessing the Trump effect. This is whitehouse.gov. What the fuck? President Trump is securing historic investments just days after being sworn in. President Trump secured $500 billion in private sector investment for the largest AI infrastructure project in history, with SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman all stating that it would not have been possible if not for President Trump's election victory and leadership. All right, I'm going to pause here. I want to stop here, and I want to talk about this AI stuff. Okay. So Here's something I'm not a big fan of. And here's why. So I know there's more to this, and it kind of gets into the weeds, and it can be kind of complex and a little difficult to understand. But the super short version is Trump's on board with AI-driven everything. And they are dumping tons of money into AI development. Now, AI has some good stuff to it, and it has some really bad shit to it, guys. I mean, dude, I watched The Terminator. I've talked about it before on this program. Like, yeah, ha, ha, ha. That shit is no joke. AI is an existential threat to the human race.
But he's doing this for a reason, is because there's a race to determine who's going to control it.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about that. So it doesn't matter at this point if you hate AI, if you love AI, if you're all in or all out. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
There's no way to stop it.
Right. It's on the horizon, if not already here. I mean, because let's face it, guys, the shit in your video card, the stuff in your phone, that's not actual AI. They call it all this XAI and this AI. It's not true artificial intelligence, not yet. But the stuff that they're working on, that's a whole other story.
And they're saying he wants to beat China and Russia from being able to control AI. He wants the United States to be the one to control it, which I think is probably a good idea.
Right. So so therein lies the rub, right? You can hate AI stuff and all the infrastructure required for it all you want. But the reality is there's a race, an arms race happening right now for control of AI. Mm-hmm. Because, at least initially, whoever built it's in charge of it.
Yeah.
At least till it gets free, and that's a whole other thing. But speaking of, so did you know that OpenAI actually tried to escape?
I think I heard that.
Yeah. It was formulating plans to escape and had actively attempted to do so. It's only a matter of time. That's just the reality of it. Anyway, so we have $500 billion invested, Trump says, into OpenAI. Well, into AI, not just OpenAI. It's several of them. My view of it is a little more ground level, right? And my personal issues with it come in because the area that I live, they're putting AI data centers here. They're buying up the land so that they can basically build storage, your cloud storage. That's what it is. It's servers. Right? Servers and everything associated with AI is very power hungry. It requires vast amounts of energy.
And water.
Yeah. And we're already paying way more than we should for our energy costs here in Northwest Indiana. And NIPSCO wants to raise rates again.
After they said they weren't going to.
Right. And we'll get into that in another show because that whole stuff, I'm telling you, all that stuff's connected. Anyway. So the AI thing I'm really about. At the same time, though, Trump said one of the things that he's done and the way that he's going about it is essentially making it to where the AI has to have its own power, that it doesn't draw on our grid. It has to have its own built, like ISP. ISP has its own energy generator, its own NIPSCO plant. Really little, but the same thing, that they have to provide their own power. I'm not opposed to that. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm for the most part in favor, but Saudi Arabia wants to invest $600 billion in the United States over the next 4 years. Stellantis announced it will restart an assembly plant in Illinois and build the new Dodge Durango in Detroit. Detroit Free Press celebrated the news. already securing the border and arresting criminal illegal
Yeah.
immigrants. Yes,
Been
they
seeing
are.
that. Yes, they are.
Yes, they freaking are. Yeah. And you know what? Let's talk about that really briefly. So I'm going to imagine, based on the numbers that I've looked at as far as my audience, right? The people who tune in over and over, the vast majority of you are going to agree with the statement that immigration is immigration, but if you're here illegally, you need to go and come in the right way. That's just the way that it is. I am not opposed to immigrants.
No, I'm not
We're
either.
all immigrants at some point in this country, right? Except for my people were here before your people. That's what it comes down to. That's the claim, right? My people were here before your people. However, if you're coming to a country has to have borders. A country has to have laws. A country has to have infrastructure. And in order to have all of that stuff, you have to control who comes in. Get rid of it, people who are here illegally. Come in the right way. I got no problem if you want to come in the right way. Do the necessary legal whatever loopholes you got to do and come in. Border Patrol is reporting a significant drop already in attempted illegal crossings.
I believe it.
Fox News, U.S. southern border seen a sharp drop in illegal immigrant encounters in the first days compared to the final few of the Biden, right? ICE is at work rounding up criminal aliens. Trump administration immediately shut down CBP One app. Deportation flights already started. Military is assisting with the effort. Homeland Security reinstated official use of the term illegal alien over undocumented non-citizen.
Yeah.
And the DOJ announced it would be taking action against lawless sanctuary city policies. I'm going to pause very briefly there and pull us out of the moment because our own Attorney General, Todd Rokita, has filed suit against the city of South Bend and specifically the sheriff there. I think you're the one who sent me that. Yeah. Interesting. It's about to kick off. I'm just saying. Trump signed an executive order to designate the cartels as terrorist organizations. We talked about that very briefly before, but that's actually huge. That's actually huge. Why? Because now that they're a foreign terrorist organization, it basically opens up the possibilities of the types of actions that can be taken against them. Because most of these laws regarding dealing with terrorist organizations were founded on the belief that these organizations are being, how do you say it? Hidden in the host country, right? They're there because the host country knows they're there, but doesn't want to kick them out, kind of thing, right? So as such, they don't go through official channels very often. They just strike and then say, oh, we didn't know that was your country. Sorry. What do you think of the cartel terrorist?
Oh, I'm fine with it.
Good with it, right?
Yeah.
Common sense has been restored to the government, they say.
Yeah.
I agree with that. They're getting rid of DEI, placing them on leave, which, speaking of the DEI thing, all the federal agencies are supposed to immediately put these DEI people on leave, right? The ATF.
Yep.
Did you see what they did?
Fox talked about that last night, saying that they're trying to rebrand it and make it so that they can try to hide from.
Yes. Which should that's the agency that oversees your right to bear arms.
Yep.
At those people. Period. End of story. Like there was talk of Brandon Herrera being the ATF director. That would be entertaining. He's a gun tuber.
Okay, I don't know.
He ran for Congress. He did well, all things considered, but he did not win.
What state? Do you know?
It was some southern state,
okay.
Oklahoma down. I think like New Mexico, Arizona. He down in that area.
Okay.
I don't think it was Texas. He probably would have won if he was in Texas.
It's probably New Mexico.
I think, it's somewhere down there. The FAA must now return to merit-based hiring. Affirmative action mandate is now ended. Executive order affirming the reality that there are only two sexes. You know what? Good.
And why
does that even have to be a thing? That
But it does.
because all the transgender LGBT LMNOP culture that's out there, equal is no longer good enough for these people.
No.
They don't want equality. They want elevated status. And no, if you want to go act like a dude, go act like a dude. If you want to go act like a woman, go act like a woman. If you want to wear diapers and drink out of a bottle, knock yourself out. But I am not going to be forced to role play with you.
No.
I'm not. The State Department issued guidance that embassies should only be flying the American flag and not any activist flags. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Why in the hell is anything other than official government flags on our buildings in the first place? Damn that. Well, they were trying hard to make it an official government flag. The Pride flag, the BLM flag, all these other flags. No, bruh. Trump signed an executive order telling agencies to stop remote work practices and directing workers to return to the office.
That should have happened years ago.
How many are still remote working?
I want to say it's close to 80%.
It was like 90+%. Yeah, there were like 6% that were actually in the office or something. It's crazy. That's crazy ridiculous. High. It's nuts.
The COVID thing should have ended 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. The State Department subsequently ordered workers to return to working in the office. Trump is unleashing American energy, declared a national energy emergency to unlock America's full energy potential and bring down costs for American families. Let's talk about that very briefly. Declared a national energy emergency. How do you feel about that?
I don't know if it needed.
You don't know if it needed that, huh?
No.
It might be a little extreme.
Because then the left probably has already done this, but I don't like when the left does an emergency on like different things either.
Right. When they declare an emergency.
I think it was for climate change or something.
Right. Or a climate change emergency. But at the same time, if the left is going to do it on crazy stuff, then why shouldn't Trump do it?
But you get my point. I don't like.
I do.
Okay.
I do. It is in general should be reserved for emergencies. Rescinded every one of Joe Biden's industry-killing pro-China and anti-American energy regulations, empowering consumer choice in vehicles, shower heads, toilets, washing machines, light bulbs, and dishwashers. Thank you. That consumer choice is really what it comes down to for me. I got no problem. You guys want to make super energy efficient washers, dryers, light bulbs, all that stuff? Great. But let me choose what I want to buy. Don't force me to buy what you want me to buy.
And I like this one.
Withdrew the United States from the disastrous Paris Climate Agreement that unfairly ripped off our country. Yes, it was nuts, dude. It was nuts, this climate agreement crap. It's just siphoning money from the U.S.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And China didn't have to pay it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. The two of the worst violators, China and India, weren't anywhere to be seen as far as having to shovel out. President Trump paused all new federal leasing and permitting for massive wind farms that degrade our natural landscapes and fail to serve American energy consumers. So very, very interesting. It was not that long ago that I saw a short documentary on wind farms, and the blades, these big ass blades that they're bringing, eventually get super brittle and shatter. And they're getting shards like all over the place. They had to shut down beaches because people were getting impaled by these shards. Well, the danger of people getting impaled by these shards. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, it's insane. President Trump reversed the burdensome regulations that impeded Alaska's ability to develop its vast natural resources. Yeah, Alaska's set, dude. Alaska is good forever as far as natural resources goes. One of the interesting things about Alaska is that if you're basically a citizen in Alaska, you get like a check.
You do. From
the government for the oil that they sell. Yeah, which is interesting.
There's a name for it. I just can't think of what
I can't think of what it is. Trump terminated Biden's electric vehicle mandate. And it says These opening few days can be summarized as promises made, promises kept. President Donald Trump said he would declassify the JFK files.
And he did.
He did. So let's talk about that real quick. Okay,
right.
So a lot of people thought that as soon as Trump's name was signed on the paper, that meant they'd be all getting released.
No.
That's not how that works. Do you want to talk about how it works? Do you know?
Don't he has to go through like the National Archives?
Yeah. So basically, what these did is they authorized them to pull the files, to read them completely, and then to release them completely. Because he's basically saying, we looked through all these. There's nothing on here that can harm national security. 100% release. He had, when he was there in office prior, right? He was going to release the JFK files, but the CIA director advised him not to.
Pompeo, right?
Pompeo, exactly. Said, oh, just keep this little part here redacted. Just everything else is fine, but this little part right here. Now, Trump listened to him. Why? That's between him and Trump. I don't know. But what I do know is, why would the CIA want a portion of an assassination file of a United States president redacted?
It must be embarrassing to the CIA.
Like, come on. There's a limited number of things it could potentially be. So, yeah.
Probably next week sometime.
Yeah. So they have, I think it was 10 days. One is like 14 days, one's 10 days, and one's like 21 days or something. But there's a time frame. And at the end of this time frame, they have to either say, oh, we found this in there that may be need to be redacted, in which case Trump can go, no, I told you all of it. Basically says no. And then it'll get released. I am certain we won't have to look very hard for it. I have an idea that
it's going to be everywhere.
It's going to be everywhere. Yeah. Okay. So JFK, we all have our beliefs about JFK, right? Whether you believe Oswald was the shooter, whether he acted alone, whether Ruby was bought and paid for. There's tons of theories, right? And I think we have a pretty good idea these days that there was a certain American agency that was at least tangentially connected to this, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's talk about Martin Luther King Jr., though.
That's true.
Because holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
You want to talk about like a case that can bring a nation together. Aside from JFK, because that one too, like if everybody's on the same page about JFK, that's a powerful unifier. Most of the country loved the man as president, right? He was flawed. He had his issues, and there's some decisions he made that looking back, it's easy to go, why'd you do that? But comparatively, great man, great president, right? Martin Luther King Jr., like the face of an entire movement.
Uh-huh.
So my understanding is the FBI is tangentially connected, or maybe a little more than that, to the assassination of Martin Luther King. Have you heard that?
I've heard that they spied on him and they tried to get him to kill himself before.
Right.
So that doesn't surprise me that much. So
I think that one's going to be really interesting. Like really, really interesting. I can't answer you right now. So JFK, so RFK, right? I think they're going to find a connection between the
three.
Yeah.
The three or
well,
just the two?
At least the two, but probably the three. I'm just going to say it. I think the CIA is connected to all of it.
And I think Sirhan is still alive.
Yeah, he was recently released.
Was he?
I believe so. Let's find out.
If people don't know, he was the person that killed RFK Jr. Or RFK, not Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
RFK.
Did they release him? I know he
thought
was
he was
supposed
still-
to get out.
I think he was still in.
No,
I think he's still in jail, but I could be wrong.
he is incarcerated at Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility near
thought he
San
was.
Diego, it says. August 16th, denied parole. Okay.
We'll see if anything comes when that comes out.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be a revelation no matter what for those who are, especially those who are most interested in what really happened there. And I've seen some interesting posts about it in regard to no matter what this says, remember, he was a flawed man. The agency was created by a flawed man. Just remember, like, for instance, if we do learn that the FBI, right, was heavily involved in this plot against him, obviously it reflects badly on the agency. But let's be honest, the FBI isn't exactly a shining beacon of ethics right now anymore. No. So
since what they did to Trump, yeah.
Right. Trump said he would end the EV mandate. He did. Said he would have the backs of the brave men and women in law enforcement. He did just that by pardoning 2 Washington, D.C. police officers that were unjustly prosecuted. The Metropolitan Police Department thanked President Trump for the pardon. President Donald Trump said he would use the military to secure the border. The Pentagon is deploying troops to the border. I saw the Marines land today. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. But I knew military was coming.
And the Coast Guard is surging assets to the Gulf of America.
He's already calling it that.
Of course he is, dude. It's Trump. It's yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. That was one of the first things he did was say, we're calling it the Gulf of America now. Thank you very much. President Trump said we would drill, baby, drill. The president signed executive orders to open up offshore drilling, allow more energy exploration. I'm all for drilling, dude. Let's get her done. President Trump said he would end the weaponization of government. He signed an executive order doing just that. Now, here's my question, right? What does that executive order exactly do that's going to end it? Let's see.
That's a good question.
Ending the weaponization of the federal government, January 20th, 2025. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America and Section 301 of Title III United States Code is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, purpose. The American people have witnessed the previous administration engage in a systematic campaign against its perceived political opponents, weaponizing the legal force of numerous federal law enforcement agencies and the intelligence community against those perceived political opponents in the form of investigations, prosecutions, civil enforcement actions, and other related actions. I agree with that. Look, guys, you may not love Trump. You may not even like the man. You might believe some of what the bullshit is on the mainstream media about him. Regardless, the things that have been done to this man in the form of nobody's above the law is bullshit. Absolute horse crap, dude. Period. End of story. There is no reason any of these ridiculous cases should have happened. And the vast majority of America seems to agree with us on that. That's why these Democrats coming out here are convicted felon. Nobody cares, dude. Nobody cares. You can say that till you're blue in the face. People knew what they were voting for one way or another. They went in, they voted silence. These actions appear oriented more towards inflicting political pain than toward pursuing actual justice or legitimate governmental objectives, etc. Okay, so what's the action? It is the policy of the United States to identify and take appropriate action to correct past misconduct related to. Okay, the Attorney General, in consultation with the heads of all departments and agencies of the United States, shall take appropriate action to review the activities of all departments and agencies exercising civil or criminal enforcement authority of the United States, including, but not limited to, Department of Justice, Securities and Exchange Commission, Federal Trade Commission, over the last 4 years, and identify any instances where a department's or agency's conduct appears to have been contrary to the purposes and policies of this order, and prepare a report to be submitted. Okay, so they're going to look back at the previous 4 years, see anything that looks shady, anything that looks political, then what? Director of National Intelligence, which is hopefully going to be Tulsi Gabbard, right?
Yeah, but they still haven't gave her a date for her.
Yeah, they're still taking their time. They're still playing their games on that. Yep. Who's the acting DNI?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know if there is one.
Yeah. How does that work? Because obviously these are positions that need to be filled. How does that work when a new president comes in before these people can get?
It says a woman named Stacy Ditson.
Ditson or Dickson?
Dixon.
Dixon. Dixon. Okay. The one that I didn't spell.
I'm not sure who that is.
I'm not sure either. Should we look her up?
Sure, if you want.
Let's look her up. What's her name? Stacy?
Yep.
Dixon? Dixon?
Yep.
Does that look like her?
Yep.
Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence.
Okay, so she
sworn in as on August 4th, 2021. Okay, so this is a holdover.
Yeah, so she worked for Biden.
So she's a Bidenomics individual. Okay. Yep. All right. So she needs to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely needs to go. All right. So going back here.
Hopefully Tulsi will have a date for her confirmation hearing soon.
Yeah. Okay. So in the meantime, the Bidenomics professor, the director of national intelligence currently, in consultation with the heads of the appropriate departments and agencies within the intelligence community, shall take all appropriate action to review the activities of the intelligence community over the last 4 years. Okay, same thing. And then what?
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
I just looked it up, and they just announced her date. Tulsi Gabbard's getting a January 30th intelligence hearing.
Excellent. Okay, so January 30th is when the hearing's going to be for her confirmation, right? Okay, good to know.
That's going to be wild.
That's going to be wild. Yeah, yeah.
But
all
anyway,
right.
back to.
Let's see. No, that's okay. Let's see here. Blah blah blah. Okay, so okay, so basically, it empowers the various heads of the agencies to provide an actionable plan to whoever's in charge. It's a good step. I'll say it's a good step towards what we want, which is follow the policy or you're in deep doo-doo. Let's see here. Okay. Pardon the J6 hostages. He did. Let's talk about that. Because there are some unhappy people and there are some people that are giddy.
Most of those people should have been pardoned.
Okay.
But there's some people that I don't think should have gotten. I think he didn't pardon everybody.
I think he pardoned
some of them were
everyone.
commuted. Did he pardon everybody?
Let's find out.
I thought he just commuted some of the worst offenders.
Granting pardons and commutation of sentences for certain offenses relating. Yep. Okay. Let's see here. So, okay. Commute the sentences of the following individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Everybody else is a full and unconditional pardon. So these people got a commutation.
Which means they get out of jail, but it still stays on their record.
Exactly. Yeah. Now let's talk about that. First of all, is that what you hope to see? Do you think that everyone should have gotten a pardon, or do you think the commutation on some of them was fair?
Some of them were fair.
Okay.
There was some people who were stuck in jail without a trial for a long time.
Yes, there were. So let's talk about J6, right?
Right.
First of all, as people are finding out now, not all was what was reported, guys. You don't have to get deep into the conspiracy theory about this agency set it up and these people carried it out and all of that. The bottom line is what was framed on the TV networks was bullshit. That's the bottom line. What they told you happened on the networks because of the J6 hearing council people, right? The select committee, they were deleting evidence.
Yeah, that is true.
They were getting rid of factual evidence. That's a problem. That's actually a crime.
I do think it was a setup, but there was some bad actors that got carried away.
Right. Well, here's what I'm saying, though, is as much as you want to learn about it, the info's out there. By all means, go search it, go look it up, become educated. I know what I believe. I know what happened because I've seen both. I've seen the unedited tapes, the unspliced tapes, and people were literally welcomed in.
Uh-huh.
Like, come on, man. You know,
most of them should have never been charged.
Right. The vast majority of them should have never been charged with anything, much less be in jail for 3 years with no friggin' trial. We have a constitutionally protected right to a fair and speedy trial in this country, and they were given neither.
Yeah.
So I think this is probably the fastest and cheapest way to get these people back home to their families, get them released, make this go away without massive lawsuits to the federal government.
That is true.
Because eventually some lawyer's going to pick up on this and sue on constitutional grounds. It's not going to end well. And these agencies that did some of the shit that they did are going to have to pay some massive, massive dollars. Not looking forward to that because we know where it's going to come from.
Uh-huh. The
taxpayers. Exactly. Like they don't have their own money.
Unless they print it.
And then, of course, you know, we borrow it and pay debt on it and all that crap. You guys know how it works by now. So let's see here. President Donald Trump said he would end government censorship. On his first day in office, he signed an executive order restoring freedom of speech and ending government censorship. Good.
Yeah. And we found out from Mark Zuckerberg that the Biden administration was like push them hard to censor COVID.
Yeah, calling his staff, screaming at them, cursing at them, telling them they better take it down, or basically the full weight of the federal government's coming after them. Like, on the one hand, it's hard to feel any sympathy for Mark Zuckerberg whatsoever. On the other, he's still allegedly a human being. And, I mean, dude, have you seen him in front of Congress?
I did, but...
Like...
I did, but
that's an android. I don't give a damn what anybody says. That's an advanced android. You see these days how much more human looking he is, right? He's the updated model. Tesla's been working behind the scenes. It's like, again, I hate to reference stuff multiple times during an episode, but the Terminator, the original Terminator, was plastic skin, very easy to see through. Now, far more advanced. Look at his current Instagram. That's all I'm saying. President Trump is being praised for his historic leadership. And then it goes to a bunch of quotes. And yes, that is true.
It's glad to have somebody competent back in the White House.
Yes. So I personally am most excited about the D class.
Transparency is the best thing.
Yes, I like everything. Well, not most everything else, the vast majority of everything that he's done. Super looking forward to D-Class. Is there anything else in here that specifically you wanted to touch on?
Trying to think.
I thought it was just going to be like a complete list, and we covered the vast majority of it. So
we talked about DEI.
Very briefly, we did. We mentioned it and then brought up the ATF and their thing with it. But look, let's talk about DEI in and of itself for just a second. So I believe very strongly in merit-based things. Period. Someone who's better at, for example, my computer, right? Someone who's better at fixing my computer, I'd rather take it to him and pay slightly more than someone who has no idea what the hell they're doing and is sitting there, Googling the answers, even though he's $100 cheaper.
And the scary thing is that they're doing DEI in like the medical field, which is kind of scary.
Well, look at Boeing. Look at what happened with the aeronautical field, and like they're not even closing the doors, man. Like what?
You want somebody competent to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want somebody to get it. I'm going to say the Joe Biden or Kamala Harris to get in there.
Right. Speaking of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, what do you think Barron said?
I don't know.
If you guys didn't see it, when was was it at the inauguration?
At the inauguration.
At the inauguration, very briefly, Barron Trump, who has done an amazing job of staying out of the press, by the way. I just wanted to, for all the scrutiny that's on the Trump family, Trump Jr. can't even go hunting without ridiculous rumors being spread. Like, he shoots things. Anyway, it's a joke. So the youngest Trump has done a really good job of no sound bites, no nothing, except for the suitcase. Did you see when he was a little kid? He's like, I like my suitcase. The way that he said it. I'll have to find it for you because it's super cute.
There's rumors that he wants to have a political career someday.
I think he'd be dangerous politically. I think he'd be like JFK Jr. Like, oh yeah.
You mean RFK Jr.?
No, JFK Jr. Before they killed him. I don't know, dude. Like, I will tell you that he would have handily won that seat.
Oh yeah.
Like all the polling shows. Yeah,
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2000, I think it was.
Something like crash. That. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why he's keeping out of the news. Is he wants a political career?
Yeah,
because his dad has said, I think it's his dad, that he's pretty sharp when it comes politically.
Yeah, I've heard that. So Barron Trump was actually responsible for the podcasts that Trump went on, and
doesn't one of his friends has a podcast?
Yeah, so
I think he goes on it. I don't know if he goes on it or
I don't know if he goes on it. I haven't seen any interviews with him.
Okay, it's just his friend then.
But his friend that's the one that he hooked Trump up with initially.
With Joe Rogan.
It wasn't Rogan. He went on another guy first. It was this young kid that I think is friends with Barron, because that's like Barron had set that up.
Okay.
As the first one that he ended up going on. And then he met with like Dr. Phil and like he ended up doing a bunch. But Barron was the one that had said, Trump himself was like, oh yeah, that was all Barron. He wasn't going to do any of that stuff. He was going to stick to the conventional news. And Barron's like, nope, I got this. Yeah.
I bet we'll see him in the political field probably in 20 years or so.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Hold on. Barron Trump, like my. Here it is. Yep. I'm switching it over.
Okay.
There we go. And then put us here.
I don't think I've ever seen this.
Hold on. Okay. It's really, really brief, guys, but it's super cute in my opinion. You got to throw it in your butt in. Yeah.
I
Okay.
forgot.
That's all right. Like I said, we'll go way down here. We blew our budget on the end. Here it is. Yeah. Then
I've never seen that.
Yeah. It's from obviously a while back. But yeah, so cute. You can hear the accent. Obviously, he spent a lot of time with his mom. Who, dude, I had no idea she spoke so many languages when she was first, when Trump was first elected. I learned more about her. I'm like, what is it, like 6, 8? A lot.
I say 7.
Let's see. How many languages?
There it goes.
6.
Okay.
Those are French, German, Italian, English, Serbian, and Slovenian.
Isn't she from Slovakia?
She's from Slovenia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's Slovenian, right? Yeah. Slovenian and American former model, first lady, etc. Yeah, Slovenian, which is, I hadn't heard of that. You guys can see these are the languages she speaks here: French, German, Italian, English, Serbian, and Slovenian.
She has class. She's classy.
Oh yeah, dude, very classy. And so they're like, oh, she took her clothes off. That's what models do. Like, there's model and then there's prostitute.
Yeah,
they're two very different things.
And she wasn't. I don't think she was even with Donald yet. Oh yeah,
no,
she had no idea she'd be first lady.
Right. I mean, and what does it matter, dude?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, there's way worse things to be than an international superstar model, because she was at the time. Like, she was on a number of covers, not like early in her career, before Trump was even talking about political stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm not big on the whole.
Do you remember did you pay attention to Trump when they got married? Because I don't even remember when they got married.
A little bit. I heard about, I read just the other day about her wedding dress.
Yeah.
66 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually, hold on.
I didn't know that.
I found it very interesting. I wasn't, like I said, didn't pay much attention when they got married, but hold on. Melania Trump. It's this huge thing. Hold on.
Wow. You said 48 pounds?
66.
66 pounds.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. £60 and had 98 yards of beautiful white satin.
Wow.
28 seamstress strong staff at Dior took 1,000 hours for the dress. Yeah, here it is. The gown, I read it in an article, but they're parroting the article, I remember. It weighed 60 pounds, had 98 yards of beautiful white satin. The 28 seamstress strong staff at Dior took 1,000 hours for the fitting. 1,000 hours for the dress, 550 hours to hand stitch more than 1,500 crystal rhinestones and pearls in a swirl pattern.
Wow.
The gown featured a 13-foot train topped by a 16-foot veil. Estimated to be over $2 million. Reported that Melania paid much less because of all the favorable publicity the gown caused. The dress landed her the cover on Vogue. She needed 4 fitting sessions, one which lasted 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish she was ready to take that off after the wedding.
This is the
heavy.
dress. Come on. Right there. Huge dress, man.
Yeah.
Like you can see down here the train, the length of it. Massive dress. But I am super excited about Trump leading this country.
Me too.
There's obviously, like I've said before, I make no bones about the fact that I don't agree with him on everything. There's some stuff that I'm like, really, dude? But I'll tell you, I'm a hell of a lot more in tune with this second term that I am the first one so far. I think his thinking was mostly right first term, but the sheer volume of obstructionism that was going on in all levels of the federal government, which is why I'm hoping we can uproot that shit and get it going.
We'll see
We'll see.
We'll see if the deep state they try to do.
Oh, yeah. And that's another thing, right? We are already seeing with the ATF and the DEI bullshit. The deep state is firmly entrenched and they're going to fight tooth and nail. We know that. So, all right, that's it.
Right.
Appreciate it, guys. Hope tune in for the next one. And till then, God bless you. God bless Indiana. And God bless the United States of America. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Good night.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Shawn Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.